You hear from your friends and neighbors that the house down the street will be lowering their price because they can't sell it. Then you turn on the news and you hear that the interest rate keeps going up. The housing market is tanking. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. Then the National Association of Realtors comes up with this news. Existing home sales dropped for 11 straight months in a row, from 6.02 million in the beginning of the year 2022 to 4.02 million by the end of the year 2022. But what does all this mean to you? How does it affect you? Do you care? Should you care? Well, it depends on your situation. If you're a home buyer sitting on the sidelines or are currently looking, then this should mean a lot to you. If you know of a loved one who's in the market to buy, then you should let them know how this impacts them as well. You see, the declining home sales number is good for you if you're buying a home because it impacts the way you approach the selling process, the way you negotiate the terms, and your decision to buy now or not. Though there are other factors to consider, at least this gives you a very good idea of where the current housing market is now. And if you're a home seller who's thinking about putting your home in the market or currently has a home on the market now, this definitely means a lot to you. If you have a home listed on the market now, it may affect your expectations and your bottom line. And if you're thinking about selling your home or need to sell your home, then it may affect how you price your home, and it will definitely affect how your agent will be marketing your home. Then you need to consider your timeline. Let's go deeper into this. Today, let's talk about why, aside from the high interest rate, the number of home sales has declined for 11 straight months in a row. Then, stick around towards the end where I'll have a question and answer section that'll give you a good idea of the current state of the housing market and where it's heading. They say knowledge is power. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and watch our video on the current home sales report, the current housing market, and how all this affects you. Per the National Association of Realtors definition, existing home sales data are a monthly measure of the sales volume and prices of existing single-family homes, condos, and co-ops nationwide. So they are homes that are currently owned and occupied before coming onto the market. The data are issued on or near the 25th of each month, so something to keep an eye on. Another important data to keep an eye on is the pending home sales index, which is coming out soon. The previous data showed a 4% decrease from October 2022 to November 2022. Per this article from the National Association of Realtors, or NAR, this was the second lowest monthly reading in 20 years due to the interest rates climbing. And this article goes on to say that the slight decrease in mortgage rates towards the end of the year should have a rebound in the coming months. It has had a positive effect on new home sales already, which have increased in the last 3 months. We'll find out on January 27th, 10 a.m. Eastern. Keeping an eye on the pending home sales index is important because it is a leading indicator of the activity in the housing market. It is based on signed contracts which are on their way to closing, which will then be tracked as a closed or a home sale transaction. Not all of them will close, but most of them will. It's obvious that the mortgage rates are the main component that has impacted the number of homes sold. But what else impacts home sales, and what can we keep an eye on that will give us a good idea as to where the housing market is heading? Number 1, the Fed funds rate. Keep an eye on what the Federal Reserve will do. They've anticipated that they'll keep the Fed funds rate high to control inflation. If they do keep it at this high level, everything might cost more initially, but will drive inflation down. Number 2, inflation. Mortgage rates tend to follow the inflation rate, and the inflation has been on a decline since June 2022, and the mortgage rate is starting to catch up. Or down. See what I did there? So keep an eye on inflation by keeping a close eye on the CPI numbers. It will give you a good idea as to where the inflation number is heading. Number 3, household formations. When family members come of age, they leave and create their own household. The more new households form, the more homes will be sold. Right now, the household formations data has declined significantly. Once inflation comes down and if the labor market stays hot, though it's cooling a bit, then more household formations will be created. Watch this closely because this will drive more homes to be sold, and you'll see an increase in competition and home prices will start to go up. Number 4, affordability. Inflation has declined, but it is still high. However, and this is a big however, people are not letting inflation affect them. They're unwilling to change their lifestyle, and they're using their credit cards and savings to keep up this lifestyle. Just look at these graphs. The higher debt and fewer savings mean they won't be able to buy a home anytime soon. This affects home sales. However, the labor market is still hot and salary is going up, so this may counter the higher debt and will cause some buyers to jump in and buy a home if mortgage rates are lower. There is an increase in the number of home buyers having a cosigner to buy a home. Number 5, economic events. Events such as the pandemic, a war, or September 11 is something that we can't control, but when something like this happens, it normally scares people and they tend to pull back and do nothing, which means less activity and fewer sales. So look out for these type of economic events. With existing home sales declining for 11 straight months, where is the housing market heading? Our aim in this channel is to help keep you informed of the fast-growing economy, specifically the housing market, and also do tips and advice so you become a more informed home buyer or home seller. So if you like and appreciate videos like this, it would mean so much to me if you go ahead and hit that like button, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. But more importantly, make sure you click on that bell, because that bell is what gives you a notification each time that we upload a new video. And thank you so much in advance, and you will be helping this channel so we can make more videos like this, as well as give tips and advice to home buyers and home sellers. With all that said, thank you so much, and let's continue. Look at this article on bankrate.com. This article, titled Housing Market Predictions for 2023, asks some great questions that can help determine where the housing market is heading. I'll answer the questions in this article and give my own take. My answers won't be very detailed, but long enough and informative enough so you'll know what's going on. Question number 1, where is the mortgage rate heading? The mortgage rate follows inflation. Inflation has declined since June 2022, last year. It's still much higher than before, but lower than when it was in June. The Federal Reserve wants inflation to go down to the rate of 2%. Right now, it's 6.5%, which is a drop from 7.1%, much lower than when it was in June. They still have a ways to go, but they'll keep the Fed funds rate high until the inflation gets there. It may not happen in 2023, but much lower than what it is now. If that happens, mortgage rate won't be far behind, and I think the mortgage rate will be around the mid-5s. Question number 2, will housing sales decline further? I think initially it will, but I've seen an increase in activity, and the mortgage applications have increased as well since the rate has dropped. Mortgage applications has surged 27% in mid-January, which means more buyers are coming onto the market. I think home sales will go sideways in 2023, but Larry Yun, the chief economist for NAR, or National Association of Realtors, thinks that we'll actually have a slight increase this year. Question number 3, will housing prices keep going lower? In most areas in the country, yes, but overall, we actually have over a 2% increase in median price year over year. It's lower than it's been, but still higher. With more buyers coming on the market, inflation and mortgage rate coming down, we may see an increase in home prices this year. Question number 4, are we heading for a buyer's market? We were getting close to a buyer's market, but take a look at this graph. We were getting close to 3.5 months worth of housing inventory. 4 to 6 months of housing inventory is considered normal. 6 months is considered a buyer's market. However, sellers started pulling their homes off of the market, while fewer sellers were putting their homes on the market, which caused the housing inventory to stay low. So no, we're not heading for a buyer's market. Question number 5, will housing inventory increase? Housing starts did increase since the home builders start feeling a little bit easier when the rates drop towards the end of the year, but they still have a lot of inventory sitting. As I mentioned above, sellers were pulling their homes off the market, and fewer sellers were putting their home on the market because they currently have a lower rate, and when they sell that home and buy another, their new home would have a higher interest rate. Housing inventory may increase, but it will still remain historically low. Question number 6, will homes be more affordable? The labor market is still hot, and salaries are still going up a bit, and inflation is still high. Personal debt is increasing, while personal savings is dwindling. And though they have come down a bit, mortgage rate is still high. So no, home affordability will stay low, though this may change if inflation and mortgage rate come down significantly in the second half of the year and the labor market stays hot. In summary, keep an eye on pending sales, housing starts, as well as mortgage applications. They're all great indicators as to where the housing market is heading. Knowing these numbers will help you plan better so that you'll make an informed decision when it comes to buying or selling a home. And if you want to know how to get ready to buy a home in 2023, then watch this video next. With all that said, thank you so much, and we'll see you around town.